Hey, Batanya, Bonsai. Bonsai. Tom, hey, welcome back to the Bancroft Brothers Animation Podcast. We start all the episodes this way, don't we, Tom?
Yeah, show tunes of some kind, and just happy to be here, Tony, for this one.
Show tunes, that was Disney.
I think that was Lion King, right? Oh, I was singing something else.
Oh, were you? Yeah, that was Lion King.
Yeah.
We both worked on it. Yes, we're both twin animators, worked at Disney for many years. Now we do a podcast where we talk about animation because we love it.
We still love it, but we're also still doing it, Tony. I don't know if the audience knows this, but I do want to shout it out really quick because when this comes out, we're working way ahead. So this might not come out for a little while, but I think we need to time this out so it comes out right before September 5th, because September 5th is when Light of the World comes out, the film that you and I both
September morn. That's right. September 5th, Light of the World. You guys have been hearing us talk about it. You've been seeing the trailers. Hopefully, if you haven't looked it up, look it up. But now it's in a theater near you. So check your local listings for where Light of the World is playing. Tom, for us.
And everybody, I know maybe it's faith-centered, of course.
Yep.
But we do think if we did our job right, it's a fun and entertaining story also. So you don't have to be on a faith journey to enjoy this film, I think. I do think that it's 2D animation. I don't think that. I know that. But I do think that you'll enjoy it for that reason also. Artistically, I feel like it came out really good. Please support it because, as you know, if you don't see it the opening weekend, it may not be there the next weekend. And
how many 2D animated features are out there? Not very many, right? So we need to support those.
Shouldn't we support them all? Yeah, I agree.
Yes. September morn. That's September 15th. Check it out. All right, Tom.
Wait, you said September 15th?
September 5th.
Yeah.
Did you say September 15th or did I?
You just did.
Oh, we use the same brain. I forgot.
I'm a little fried. I'm sorry.
September 5th. It comes out. Oh, man. Tonight, Tom. Tonight. I'm calling it tonight, but it's really the afternoon. And it's super hot here, Tom. I don't know about you, but it is super hot outside. Yeah. And our guest is pretty awesome, too, to be here with us. She's blown up on social media. You know her as the Bookish Animator. Tom and I want to introduce her by her real name, which is Julia McIntyre. Come on in, Julia.
McIntyre.
Hello.
Hi,
Julia, thank you for being with us.
Now, thank you for having me.
This is a treat because, Tony and I, we're young at heart. You're young in person, but we love the internet. We love animation. We love all the things that you love, honestly. And that's why you're here. And we want to hear your story of how you got into what you're doing. Before that, though, off screen, you said something that was really interesting to me about posters in your room. What was that?
I said that if I could have, as a child, have had like my celebrity posters up on my wall of my favorite animators, it would have been Tom Bancroft, Tony Bancroft, and then of course Glenn Keane.
Glenn might have been third. I believe that.
Yeah, she didn't mention Glenn the first time. Now she's throwing it in because she's telling the truth.
The list is getting longer, actually. Oh, well, maybe Eric Goldberg. What's the guy from Cartoon Saloon? Yeah, him too.
Yeah. Domi Shi and
yes,
I'll just keep going.
Domi, yeah, we gotta have her on the podcast. Can you hook us up with Domi?
Another amazing Canadian. So,
oh yes, that's right. Our last person we had on the podcast was Canadian. Tom, you know who it was? It was
You just tried this off mic, and I didn't know. It's that Canadian woman.
She was awesome.
There's only like 3 of us, so it's fine.
Yeah. Especially in animation, right? Domi, if you're listening, reach out to us. We'd love to have you on the podcast. All right, Julia, back to you.
Well, Julia, now, so I told you off air too. We've been following you for a while, and not stalking because it's allowed when you're on Instagram, right?
It's fine.
It's fine. It's what we do. And big fan of your work, and I love your story. So we're going to talk a little bit about your story tonight. And you really blew up on social media when you started doing your own little animations, and particularly one of the ones that have really hit big is I got laid off from my dream job. And we'll talk about that. And then you're also on YouTube let's see, you have subscribers, man. You got 156,000 subscribers on YouTube. On Instagram, you're blowing up with 346,000 followers as we say this, although it's now 350,000, I'm sure, by the time this comes out. Yeah, it just rolled over as we were talking. And your YouTube is awesome too. So first job in animation, how did it come about? You're in Canada. Where'd you come from? What school did you, Sheridan? Am I guessing right?
No, I didn't go to Sheridan. I didn't go the Sheridan route. I'm originally from Saskatchewan, which is the big rectangle in the middle of Canada, if you're familiar
I've seen
with the
it
map.
on the map.
Yes. Yeah. So when I was growing up, I really loved animation, but I didn't really think that I would be able to do it as a career just because I was from Saskatchewan and there aren't very many, or at the time when I was growing up, there were no animation studios in Saskatchewan at all.
Yes.
So it meant that
probably a lot of moose. Probably a lot of moose there.
A lot of moose, a lot of deer, a lot of coyotes.
Yes.
Coyotes.
Okay. Wow.
Very flat.
Groundhogs. Let's keep going through all.
Yeah, we'll just list them all.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, I knew that if I wanted to do animation, I wasn't going to be able to do it in Saskatchewan. So I'd have to leave. And my whole family's in Saskatchewan. So that was kind of a big deal. It was going to be a big step. So I basically had written off animation as like, I'm not going to be able to do it. So and up until my last semester of grade 12 in high school, I was going into optometry. I was really good at science. So that was kind of going to be my path.
Wow.
And then I loved art, so I was still taking an art class.
You loved art, hated money.
Hated, yeah. Hated money. Thought it was a terrible invention. But I had an art teacher come up to me and ask what I was going to do after high school, and she kind of was like, I think you're really good at this art thing, and I think you should consider maybe art as a career. And that was kind of the first person to tell me that I was allowed to do art as a career. And so in between, like when school ended and Christmas rolled around, I basically went to Christmas dinner and told all of my relatives, I'm no longer becoming a doctor. I'm now going to art school.
Oh man.
It's like you came out as an artist, a cartoonist. And
I did.
No, a little Julia, not Julia.
Luckily, they were all very, very kind about it. My parents were super supportive. They were like, "This is what you were meant to do. You've loved this for so long." A couple of the older relatives were like, "You could do that as a hobby and still be a doctor, though."
I bet. Well, and here's the thing. I want to say this out loud to all the parents that are listening, and the 5 of them, is that support obviously changed your life for one.
It did.
And what we don't know how it's all going to work out yet. You're pretty young, but we're going to assume you're on a path that you're enjoying, you love, you're so thankful for. But that's so important, and it's so hard to do when it's the unknown. You want the best for your kids, and art, let's face it, is not. Just like if you would have said, I want to be an actress, that would be a little scary. Maybe even a writer, right? Musician. Being in the creative arts. But here's the thing that they saw, I bet Julie's not gonna be happy any other way. And if you love your kids and you want them to be happy, you should probably support the arts if that's where they really feel like they should be. And that's just for the parents that are out there listening. That must have made your day.
Parent
that was a PSA. I'm helping with parenting.
Well, and I always say I have the best art parents ever. When I was doing so I did a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree first, and then I went into animation afterwards. But when I was doing my Bachelor of Fine Arts, my dad's really good at carpentry, so he custom made all of my frames for all of my big paintings that I did during my bachelor's degree. And my mom was the one that would come and pick me up at like midnight from the studios at the university, and she would take me out for McDonald's after that because it was the only thing that was open.
That's support right there. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, parents. Tom and I had a single mom that raised us, and we had an older sister too. But our mom was super supportive too. Like we were never questioned about like, are you guys sure? Is this really what you want? We had a stepdad that came into the picture a little later on in life for us, and he was the one that was just like,
oh yeah,
you should think about military, boys. You know, we could sign you up right now for the Navy. What do you think?
He had been in the military, and he could not wrap his head around it.
Yeah. And
but he liked us, I mean, like, we were likable, and he saw that we were good boys. But yeah, he was scared.
It was like having pet penguins or something. I think for him, he was just like, "Oh, they're a fun oddity,"
Right.
but he didn't understand us. But yeah, we went the way we went. But our mom was just always like so. I can't say enough for what it is to have supportive parents. It's the wind beneath your wings, right, Julia?
It is.
So you're off. Yeah.
I'm hearing that you had fine art background and then went into animation at the same school?
No. So I did my Bachelor of Fine Arts back in Saskatchewan. And then I went out to Vancouver to Van Arts to do my animation. And that was specifically because I'm very practical as well. I knew that in Canada, it's basically TV animation. That is our big industry. So I wanted to train so that I could immediately go into working in production for TV shows. And so I looked at all of the schools, and I already had 4 years of a fine arts degree. And looking at another 4 years for Sheridan, I was like, well, I may as well have become a doctor if I was going to do 8 years of degrees.
I know. Yeah.
So Van Arts. No. So Van Arts offered a 12-month intensive program where you basically got no breaks. So you just go 12 months straight through, and it's like animation crash course. So you do everything from fundamentals to training everything that you need to know for harmony, because Toon Boom, at least in Canada, is very industry standard for all of the TV shows.
Yep.
Did you say 2 years? Was that a 2 year program?
No, it was 12 months.
12 months.
12 months.
I was listening, Julia.
Tom, we went to Van Arts. I don't know if you remember that, or maybe it was just Renee and I. Okay, yeah, it was.
I don't think we did.
I confused you with my wife, but yeah, it was my wife and I actually took a tour of that because we spoke up in that area in Vancouver for I forget the club that they have up there. Anyway, we took a tour of the college and got to meet some of the teachers. I thought it was a really interesting and great idea, this program that was like 12-month intensive, because less money, let's face it, for the students.
Less money, less time.
Yeah. And gosh, Canada is so cheap when it comes to schooling too. Even at Sheridan, it's unbelievably so much cheaper than what we pay in the US. Yeah. sob. But anyway, they were getting so much production at the time, and maybe this is true for you. Things were really amped up, and I'm putting you at somewhere pre-COVID when you're coming out of that program.
So no, I was right in COVID. I was 2021.
The best of times. Okay, so that makes sense. I'm going to call that the best of times because a lot of work was going to Canada. Because a lot of work was being turned on by these brand new streamers. There was new productions and series work all over the place. You're coming out at a school at a really good time. And that's why that program, though, was like so good, because they were amping people up to go straight into working. So they were learning very practical things like cleanup and in-betweening and stuff like that are very like lower level beginning stage.
Yeah, they weren't like CalArts has a mystique of like, we create filmmakers and directors and people that are going to be showrunners,
but not practical stuff.
But you don't learn in between, and you don't learn clean up. It's always been that way. Yeah.
All of the really like nitty gritty, the stuff that like the real senior animators are probably not going to be doing on production, but as a junior, those are the jobs that you can get. So I was like, absolutely, this is what I need to know.
Practical. I love it. That's what I love about it. It's short and it's practical. So you came out into the industry at a pretty good time, right? How was that?
I did. So I was very lucky. Anytime that I talk to students now, it's really hard because they are like, oh, how did you get into the industry? And I was like, I was really lucky that I came out at the time that I did, because when I graduated, I TA'd for like a month and a half at the school. And in that time, I had 4 job offers.
Yes.
So that's like, that's unheard of right now.
Wow.
I know. Exactly.
So, yeah. Wow. When I say this to students now, they're like, oh yeah, no, that's not been my experience.
And were they all the same job, like in betweener, or what? It was entry level?
Junior animator, pretty much across the board. Yeah.
Okay.
So before all of this though, I had met this guy named Mike, who I talk about in my very original like video of how I started into animation.
Hi, Mike.
And he's been nicknamed Noodle Mike because I met him in a ramen shop.
And that's all you know about him? He's some strange guy, Mike, in the ramen shop.
He was an animation supervisor for Blue's Clues at the studio that I eventually went to work at. So I met him when I was touring Van Arts. Like a number of years before I actually went. And I was in this ramen shop with my dad because I'd gone out with my dad to go check out the school. And so I was sitting across from my dad, very passionately telling him all of the things that I had learned that day, watching the classes and looking over students' shoulders and getting to see everything. And basically trying very hard to convince him that animation is a good job. I'll be okay. Everything's going to be fine if you let me leave home and go to a different province and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that sitting directly next to me was Mike, who was listening to me give this very impassioned spiel to my dad. And at the end of his meal, he turned around and said, "I'm very sorry for eavesdropping, but I happen to be an animation supervisor. When I was a junior animator, somebody turned around to me in a restaurant, and I've always wanted to pay it forward.
Oh,
I'm going to give you my email. In a couple of years, when you're ready to go, please, keep in contact, send me your stuff. I would love to help you get into the industry."
Oh,
so
my God.
That's how I got in.
Started your 12
Yes.
Your dad's crying, I'm sure.
Yeah. He was sold. He was like, "This is great. My child's not going to starve out in Vancouver. We're good."
Yeah. This strange man is
you may go.
Take her under his wings. I'm sure.
That's right.
Fun. Yeah.
It'll be good. But I learned by the time that I actually ended up getting the job in the studio in Toronto, at the same studio that Mike worked at, as I told this story to some of my new coworkers, they were like, "Mike's done the same thing for me. He helped me get in. He looked over my portfolio." So he really is. I say this every time I talk to somebody. I'm like, Mike is the reason that I have a career in animation, and I'm
you don't know his
so
last
grateful.
name? Does he have a last name?
He does have a last name. It's Yunker, Mike Yunker.
Okay,
Mike
we're going to
Yunker.
give Mike a good nod. Thank you, Mike Yunker, for supporting the next generation.
He deserves to be a poster on your wall too.
Oh yeah,
he
where's
truly
the Yunker?
is. Oh, he should have. Yeah, he's over here.
You should have a poster and with like one of those little Nerf basketball things on it, and you could call it your Mike Yunker Dunker.
Every time I do something great on a day, I'm like, "Thank you, Mike."
Yeah, I love that.
There it is.
And then you throw darts at Tom.
No.
To work on
you guys.
decision. That's what that is.
So
we
I
started
wanna
at
get
cleanup because you said junior animator. That is cleanup, I assume.
And you were on Blue's Clues, it sounds like, yeah?
I wasn't on Blue's Clues. I was on a show called Sago Mini Friends. And so I started as a junior animator, which was a lot of like, it was just like, I got a couple shots that were like talking heads and then some cleanup and stuff like that. But then the production that I got hired onto was a very fast-paced production. And I don't know if they just didn't know that I was fresh out of school, but they transferred me over to a different department very quickly, where I was suddenly on the show had a music video segment. So it was like characters dancing and singing and all of this. Ooh. As a junior animator, they kind of just were like, "And here you go."
You got this 24 character dance scene.
Yes, here's 16 characters. They all need to dance on the beat while passing a ball to each other.
Oh my gosh, that's a tough one.
And harmony will crash if you have that many rigged characters in a scene together. So you got to separate it out. But it was a really amazing experience because I was basically like thrown in with a whole bunch of senior animators who were incredible at helping me figure out everything. And getting to watch them animate was really inspiring and cool and very helpful for me coming in.
And so you were doing Toon Boom rigged animation, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Which is what I see in your videos that you produce online too. So you got to be pretty snappy with creating your own rigs and animating. Yes. Yeah. It was, I really liked rigging when I went to school at Van Arts. It was something that it wasn't really like it was taught, but I basically
bugged all of my profs until they taught me more. So I would stay after class and be like, I really want to know how to do this. And they were very kind and generous with me to teach me how to do it.
Well,
so
that's that smart half of your brain that wanted to be an ophthalmologist or optometrist or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. I love the node view. It's very soothing to me. And then everybody else looks at the node view and they're like, oh.
Oh, yeah. That's Tony and I. Yeah.
Yeah. We're of the non-node base viewpoint. Yes,
nodeless.
for sure. We're without node. Anyway, I wanted to say too, for the listeners out there, we're talking about Toon Boom Harmony and rigged animation. And when we get to a podcast about the film that Tom and I worked on, Light of the World, we're gonna probably go in a little bit more in depth in that, because rigged animation, and they teach it a lot in Canada. It's still kind of new and upcoming for us
in the
US.
Mm-hmm.
Again, our schools, we kind of pride ourselves too much, I think, on going way past that and talking about just story and creation.
It's mostly CG, but 2D also.
Yeah. And so it's something that at Lipscomb University, where Tom and I teach, we are trying to bring in more of that rig-based animation, because that's where a lot of the jobs are. And if you're in Canada, Julia, I would imagine that's so important, and that most animators there are working in Toon Boom rigged animation.
Yes, very, very much so. There was very few productions. I think there were a couple maybe out in Vancouver that were hand drawn and stuff like that. But the majority of my coworkers and everybody that I've worked with so far has been Toon Boom rigged animation animators. Yeah.
And again, and as another aside, just for the listeners, that's largely how most TV series are being done. A lot of, just less expensive. Right. It's faster. It's a vector-based system. And that means that you can enlarge things, change things, rotate things. Very adaptable, very editable. And animation is always about iterations. So having the ability to quickly iterate and change things is really beneficial, especially in a TV style series pipeline.
And it's not just Canada. Italy, it's huge.
Kind of everywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ireland, everywhere but the US, honestly.
Yeah. But it's growing. It's definitely growing here. It's just, I think we're just a little bit slower to get to it. And another plug for Light of the World. Please go see it, because you'll see that it looks like traditional animation, and a lot of it is. I will say we did a nice combo of rigged animation and traditional animation. To me, that's the future of 2D animation features, is a hybrid system that has really high quality. A lot more, on the traditional side, we would try and lean into that. But the ability to do rigged animation and combine those two elements, that hybrid, I think is the future in a lot of ways. What do you think? You're pretty happy with working with rigged animation?
I am. So especially when I'm working very fast client-based jobs, I'm fast at rigging, which is helpful. But also with it being so editable, if a client comes back with notes and wants things changed, wants timings changed and things like that, if I was doing this all hand-drawn, like, it would be weeks worth of work lost. And with rigged animation, it's a lot easier for me to edit and take feedback and stuff like that.
Well,
in a faster way, anyways.
And aren't you like a one-woman show? I mean,
it's just crew. Me.
Okay, good. All right, well, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, because what some of the stuff you're saying makes me want to go down that road and ask questions. So I'm going to pull back though and say, the way that I discovered you, and I think Tony's not so different, but maybe he's dug a little deeper recently, is I just started seeing these reels pop up. And it was this girl called
the Bookish
Animator. Bookish Animator. And Animator was in the title, so I was immediately intrigued. And it was you kind of bringing to life like book covers and things like that, or like little scenarios from a book based on a book I guess that you read and really enjoyed. And so I thought I didn't know you had an animation background, right? Like, I just thought, oh, this is somebody that's like an illustrator that's learning how to animate, and she's bringing forth, and it wasn't based on quality. I'm just saying this is what I had in my head.
Yeah. I was like, where are you going with that, Tom?
But because there was a lot of tutorials of like, this is how I went about it. Like, that's why it felt like it was somebody that was we were on the adventure with. And that you were trying to sort of break into this new thing of like making like little trailers for books, basically, that you loved. And now my understanding is that part of it's true. Did you start as a fan, just creating that love to read, love some books, started creating like little animation fan videos, and then later tutorials to go along with it? And now it sounds like it's become a business. So let's talk about that adventure.
Yeah, well, so I did not intend for this to be my full-time job. I got laid off, which was that video that went massively viral.
It 3 million views? How much? Well, tell us the massive size. 7 million? That's on YouTube, right?
That's massive. Yeah.
It's 7 million on Instagram and a couple million on YouTube as well. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, good.
So I got laid off from my animation job, as basically a lot of studios had to do in 2024. So that was January 2024. I got laid off, and that was very sad. And I gave myself, this is my practical brain again, I looked at my finances and what I could do, and I said, I can give myself 6 months to find another creative job. I'm gonna put a hard stop on 6 months, and after 6 months, if I haven't found something, I need to just go back and find like a different job.
Just take any job. Right. Yeah.
Pay rent, buy groceries, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I gave myself the 6 months. I started making these animated book cover things because I was like, I think these would be kind of neat, and maybe this could be a thing. And I kind of started posting them. They did okay, but I had like 200 followers on Instagram. And they were mostly my family and people from high school. So, my friends liked them and thought they were neat. But I tried a bunch of different business ideas, and none of them really panned out. So we hit July, and I was like, you know what? I guess that's kind of it. I'm gonna have to go find a regular job. But
I'll make one more video.
I was like, well, this will be my side project. I'll have my normal corporate 9 to 5 job, whatever I decide to do, and then my 5 to 9 in the evenings will be this little side project. And so I posted that video basically for my friends to be like, this is what I'm going to do in the next couple of months just to keep myself busy and to keep my creative brain happy. And I posted it on the GO train, which is our train system in between cities in Toronto, on the way in to see my friends. And I was like, hey guys, look at this. And they were like, that's great, Julia. That's cool. And then by the end, basically. Yeah. And
what's that number in the corner? Why is it going up so fast?
By the end of the day, I hit 500 followers. So I went from 200 to 500 followers in the span of like 6-7 hours, something like that.
Wow.
And I was like, this is great. This is incredible. I'm going to go get a milkshake. So I went and got a milkshake with my husband. And as we were sitting drinking our milkshakes, the numbers just kept going up and up and up and up. And by the next day, I had over 1,000 followers. And then the next day, it was over 10,000 followers. And then it just
exponential.
Yes. And within the first 2 weeks of me kind of I had all of this backlog of these animations because I'd been working on them for a while. So I just kept kind of posting them, and they did really well. And then after I think it was after a week or two of posting them, I got my very first animation commission from an indie author. Wow. And I was like, people would pay me for this? I've just been doing this for free.
Yeah. I thought that was just about followers. Yeah.
Well,
and I was oh wait.
I was still at this point, I was still looking for just any regular job. I was not thinking that this was going to be anything. And even now, I'll be honest, every once in a while, I'm like, this will all blow over, and I'll have to go get a different job, which it might, and that's fine. But while at that time, I was like, well, while it's happening, I may as well keep trying to get more clients and stuff like that. And I think by end of August, so July to end of August, by end of August, I had fully made it into a business plan. I went to my husband and was like, here's my plan for the next year. do we think we can do this if I'm not working a consistent job? And he's like, I think you can do this. So
that's a
also
good guy.
shout out for the husband support as well.
Yeah.
for him being like, you should try and do this. When are you going to get this opportunity again?
I just want to do this another parent moment for me. My assumption is that your husband is not in the animation industry. He does have health care that he can help bring in. Well, you're Canadian. Maybe it's not as much of a concern.
But
no, he's got a steady office kind of job.
He runs his own business. So when we first got married, he was starting his own business.
No.
And but his business is much more. It's settled. It's good.
It's technology. It's got to be technology.
Or is it building fences? Something like that.
He's in construction. He's good.
Okay.
Good. Solid. That's AI proof, by the way. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So tell me about the bookish part of the title, the Bookish Animator. Take us. Have you always been a book enthusiast? Are you one of those that just loves to sit down and read and draw, I guess, right?
Yeah. I loved reading since I was a kid. I was always a reader. My parents could drop me off at a library and I would just sit there and read. I was very, very easy to take care of. You plot me with a book and I'm good. So I was a really big reader, and I continued to be basically all through my teens and into my 20s. And I saw this thing online called Book Talk and Bookstagram, which was all of these accounts talking about books. So I started following all of these people and started reading the books that they recommended. And when I read, I see these characters and the whole story as like a little animated film in my head. So when I started making these animations, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I could like show people what's in my head when I'm reading these books? And I've since found out that
that's called visual development. I don't know if you knew that, but in the animation industry, that's actually a title.
That's a title. Yeah.
Read a script. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it would be kind of neat, and I was very surprised and obviously very thankful that other people thought it was pretty neat to see these characters kind of come to life.
Your take on a book, characters they had in their head, I'm sure it was fascinating for them. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was nerve-wracking when everything blew up, because I was also like, I hope people see the characters the same way that I do and are not mad that I've, maybe depicted them slightly different than what they, have seen in their head. Because it's like when you get casting for a movie for an adaptation of a book and everyone's like, oh, that's not how I saw them at all.
Oh, that must happen all the time, does it?
I have so far been very lucky to have very positive feedback for most of the animations that I have done.
On you. That's good.
Well, they hate on other things, but that's fine.
That's the animation. They're like, you animated on 3s. Could you do that on 2s next time? It'll be a lot smoother for me. Now, what about publishers and some of the book authors? Were they starting to realize that you were out there and doing these things and reacting to your work?
Yeah, well, so when I started posting kind of like my fan-made stuff, I wasn't working with any authors or publishers at the time when I first started it. And they were like, I got a whole bunch of DMs from authors being like, do you offer commissions? And I was like, I don't even know how to price this. Like, I know what I was being paid as a junior animator at a studio, but I don't know how to price. Yes.
That's a good place to start, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a lot of trial and error, but my first like kind of publisher that I signed a contract with a publisher to be basically like a freelance animator for this publishing house.
On an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
Basically. So they anytime that they have books coming out, they kind of send me an email and like, they're amazing. They're basically like, what do you want to work on? Do you feel like any of these? Do you like any of these?
Here's all our books. Is that what they're playing to? A stack of books?
Basically, yeah. They're like, here's our new releases for the year. which ones do you think would make good animations? So that's very fun for me.
Cool.
Well, it's really smart of them. It's like, yeah, ask the artist what's going to get them most excited. It'll be passed along.
But obviously, I would think reading the book is involved with that. So when you commit to something, you got to sit down and read the book, right?
I do. I other than if the book hasn't come out yet, sometimes even if the book hasn't come out yet, I get advanced reader copies of the book. So I'm getting to read the book way before anybody else.
Now for Tony, that sounds painful and hard and all that. But to you, it's like,
that's the joy.
Here's Tony's version of that. We want you to do a character design of about this hot fudge sundae, but you got to eat the hot fudge sundae first, Tony. Is that okay with you?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds like pleasure.
Okay.
That's not homework anymore. Good.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
No, so it is. It's genuinely very exciting. Anytime that I get an email from an author being like, and here's your copy of the book, it doesn't come out for another 6 months or something, I'm like, this is so cool.
You should be like, okay, I'm going to do this job, but you got to get them signed by the authors before you send them to me, right? Like then you get signed copies.
Well, I do get a lot of book PR, which is like they'll send you a box with all like the book is all nicely in this very pretty box, and you get a whole bunch of merch and stuff that comes with it, which is very cool.
Wow. Well, so let's back up a little bit because I want to see how they're using this. So that's the sort of business side of me is I'm like, okay, I can see why they're contacting you. To me, the value, like they're not taking your art and like, oh, we're going to make that be a separate cover of the book, right?
Nope.
This is just stays online as social media. My assumption is what they're really buying is the making of it too, like your unveiling of it on your Instagram because you have so many followers.
This is marketing.
Yes.
This is social media marketing. Yeah.
It is 100% social media marketing. I'm talking about the book. Sometimes I do tutorials and behind the scenes of how I made the thing. So I'm talking about the book more. I'm talking about the characters. And as I work, I often am posting stuff on my stories of like, this is what I'm working on today. And I'll do little sneak peeks and have people guess what book I'm coming out with next for an animation and stuff like that. And the majority of my authors, a large majority, at least for the last year, have all been indie authors. So they're not going through a traditional publishing house. So they are having to do all of their own marketing. And it's very rewarding for me getting to see the comments when an animation goes live of all of these people going, I bought the book today because I saw the animation and this looks right up my alley. So it's connecting an author that might not have the audience because they don't have the big publishing dollars behind them. And even sometimes publishing houses do not do a good job at promoting their authors.
Amen.
So having somebody that can reach the readers in a different way is huge.
On their level, the fan level, let's be honest.
And I'm so glad we're doing this podcast right now because two things, Julia. I want to do a shout out for my youngest daughter, Sierra Bancroft, who is an avid book reader. I mean, she'll read 150. I don't know what a year, 150 books, 200 books a year, whatever she's up to right now.
The fact that she counts them makes her really serious.
Well, and she does journals about each one and gives and reviews and she hasn't done that, hasn't transferred that to social media. I think she should, but I will say
monetized it yet. That's what she needs.
That's the dad in me. It's like, you could be making money off of this somehow. Come on. But I also just got back from, and Tom knows about this, Realm Makers Expo, which was Realm Makers is a book club. It's actually on the Christian side, but it's like Christians who love dragons and write books about fantasy and sci-fi and things like that. Really,
I should have went to that.
You should have gone. Tom. You would have loved it, and they would have loved you, really.
Oh.
But I talked to a lot of authors just this weekend, and so I'm really connecting with what you're saying about authors that are always needing a good artist, somebody that can really represent their work, somebody that can really talk about it, get it out there. And that old adage, don't judge a book by its cover. That is not true at all when it comes to books. Because you need really good artists. You need people that can illustrate and really bring to life in a great design, a great fashion. And I will say I did see a lot of books this weekend that were poorly illustrated. And so I know that the importance of that.
Those were all done with AI though, right?
Probably. There was, I do think I saw some AI covers this weekend.
You did. Oh,
but how is it? I love this relationship that you're talking about between you and the authors and these indie authors. The fact that you said your publisher lets you kind of choose the book, they must feel so honored when you start working on a project that's theirs.
Yeah, well, it's very sweet because I mean, I've only been doing this for about a year, so I still kind of fangirl that an author wants my art and my animation. So
never give up on that, Taylor. Come on.
It's a very like mutual fangirling moment where I'm just like, I'm so excited to work with you on this, and they're like, I'm so excited, you know who I am. And I'm like,
yeah, that's so cool.
It's really, really sweet, and it's exciting for me too, because I feel like I put myself more in the box with the indie authors. Like I feel like I'm an indie animator. I'm not with a big studio. I'm not at Disney or anything, and I can't really point to like, oh, there's my name in the credits of this show and things like that. So being able to work with these indie authors is so much fun for me. I really like it.
Well, you're doing better in Disney right now, so congratulations.
Well, here's another little sidetrack, Tom, real quick. You're big lately. You've been posting a lot about K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah,
got a fangirl moment here. Do you want to fangirl a little bit about K-pop? What do you love about K-pop Demon Hunters?
Well, I feel like it kind of came out of nowhere. Like I had obviously seen stuff about it because like I'm searching out animation stuff online constantly. So I had seen some trailers for it and I kind of knew that it was coming out. So I watched it the day that it came out on Netflix.
Yes.
And so I watched it and then I was sending messages to all of my friends, my animator friends, being like, you guys need to watch this. It was really, really well done. And they were kind of like, I feel like in the last little while, there's been a lot of animated shows or movies that have come out and they just haven't quite hit the mark. And so they were kind of reluctant to go and watch it and spend their time to watch it. And I was like, please, 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 please just go and watch it. And I sent it to them. And then I sent it to all of my friends who are big K-pop fans. And I like K-pop, but I'm not like on the level that these girls are. So I sent it to them and I was like, I, as a tangential fan of K-pop, really like the songs, really like the music. I thought it was really well done. All of the choreography, the animation to the music, I thought it was phenomenal. But I sent it to them to be like, how is this? Like, is this good? And they were like, this is incredible. So it was so fun to see that like all of these groups of friends, and then of course, then I started posting about it on Instagram, and then all of my book and author friends. I have a running tally right now. I have so far convinced 17 best-selling authors to watch K-pop Demon Hunter.
That's awesome. You're keeping track.
I am because it's very.
You're on a mission. It sounds like a mission. I get it.
It is. I'm
trying to change the world for K-pop. Good. For you. But mostly K-pop Demon Hunters.
It's funny you say that though. I just thought of you're like when you first heard about it. I was probably days before, if maybe a week or two tops before the movie came out, that I heard about it. And I mean, I know it's Netflix. They don't really advertise necessarily, except for on their channel. But I know it was Whitney Paulette had my friend online had posted about it, and I saw a trailer. I saw that trailer, and I was like, I am into this. I don't like K-pop. I don't know about K-pop. This is kind of anime. That's not me either. This is a bunch of lady singers. That's not me either. But I was sold from the get-go because I was just like, because as soon as they showed the Sasha boys, I was like, okay, that's the Demons have disguised themselves as a boy band. Oh my gosh, it's brilliant. That's just the concept is brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's a fresh story. It's got really great emotional beats throughout. My mom was just out visiting me. I made her watch it with me and she was like, I see why you like this. And I was like, yeah.
It has its flaws and I'd love to dig into that, but let's not.
No, we'll have Maggie Kang on and you can debate with the director.
Oh, I'd love to do that. Let's do that.
We'll do that.
I'll be like, what about this,
What do you say to this,
Maggie?
And she'll go, #1 movie of all time on Netflix. That's what I say.
Yeah. And
the music is bigger than the movie now, I think. And that's the amazing thing.
The fake K-pop's bigger than real K-pop.
It's charting higher than the K-pop, like real K-pop groups.
Yeah, right. Blackpink is it's outdone Blackpink. It's I don't know the male version of that. That
BTS,
is a group, right? There it is.
BTS.
Yes. Thank you.
They all want to do remakes of the songs. They're all like, "Can we do a cover of that?" Yeah.
Oh, that's
I bet that's going to happen.
Don't do it, guys.
All right, so back to books.
Back to Julia. Well, here's my quick question. Do you have sort of a world you live in on the book side of things that you are animating? Because I haven't got to see a lot of them, but I recognize enough that these are not books I'm reading. So are they kind of romance mostly, or do you get into fantasy? What side
I do romance and fantasy. Those are kind of my genres that I've carved out my little niche in. Because those are also kind of the things that I grew up reading. I was a big Terry Pratchett fan as a kid. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a British author that did a whole bunch of fantasy, very witty, quippy, very dry sense of humor. And so those were very English. So those were the books that I really liked as a kid. And so when I started doing all of these books, I picked books that I had read and really liked. So I picked my small town romances, which I love. They're really fun to read. And then I was
like
picking
Hallmark Channel kind of
like Hallmark kind of thing.
Step above a Hallmark.
Sorry,
don't trash them.
Sorry,
don't put them in the same.
Not to trash a Hallmark movie. We love a Hallmark movie, but
we do. No, I don't.
That's going to be my new thing. I'm going to be like Tom Bancroft Hallmark. And I'm gonna do like a Hallmark animation based on Hallmark movies. But go ahead.
But yeah, those were my favorite genres, and I think they lend themselves really well to animation, especially fantasy, because so many fantasy books get adapted into live action. But I mean, it's live action, but it's CG. It's like dragons and creatures and stuff like that, and magic. That's all being done with CG animation. So I was like, well, if you're already doing it animated, why not go all the way and do it, full 2D animated? And I like those really kind of spectacular, magical, reminds me of my childhood, all of those fantasy Disney movies that I watched that had that romance in them. I'm pulling from that.
The ones that I've seen, and this goes into how far you go with your production value and stuff, are silent, right? Are you getting into dialogue where you're voice casting? Are you doing music? How far are you going?
I am. So for the K-pop Demon Hunters video, I had been seeing a lot of people recreate scenes that came from concept art, but they were doing it with AI. And I was mad about it.
No!
So I went out and I hired a voice actor and a composer for a 30-second animation that I did within like the span of 48 hours. We produced this thing. Like, it was very fast. And that
was just a fan one too. You're not getting paid for that.
No, I was fueled by pettiness after seeing all of these videos that people were just generating with AI. And I was like, I want to create something that is, one, better quality, and also just has real people behind it. And it did really well. Like, it people really, really liked it. And people were appreciative of the fact that there are real people.
Are you saying, so back to the voice casting,
yes.
Are you just doing kind of pretend voices, or was this soundtrack that was already from the film, or like, where did you get that from?
No, so I had seen some concept art, and the concept art had like dialogue lines at the bottom of the concept art for the scene that never made it into the movie. So I animated the scene that never went into the movie, but I hired a voice actor to read the voice lines that were on the original concept art. And then I hired one of my good friends who is a composer for, she's also in the book space, but she does, she's a composer by trade, and she did the music for me.
Fantastic.
And I'm on Instagram looking at the one you're talking about, 164,000 likes.
Yes.
And, on Instagram, not bad at all. I'm sure. Are you on TikTok also?
TikTok stresses me out, so I'm no longer on TikTok.
Because I feel like you blow up that space huge.
Well, yeah, I do too. Like, what do you mean by stresses you out, though?
I just found as a platform, it was, I don't know, people were a little meaner and I'm a little bit sensitive. So after I had my work on there for quite a while, but after a while, I just was like, you know what? Every time I go to try and post something on here, I read comments that make me feel kind of icky, which is the hard thing about being an animator on social media. You don't just have a direct supervisor that's giving you feedback. You have hundreds of thousands of people giving you feedback.
Yeah.
So that was just a personal choice for me where I was doing well enough on Instagram and YouTube that I was like, you know what? If this platform is making me feel icky every time that I go on it, I think I can just take a step back from it.
Maybe you don't need those followers. Yeah. So let's go back to, and there's overlap anyway. Let's go back to YouTube then. So obviously it sounds like you're newer to that because the numbers are a little bit lower when Tony's yelling out numbers. Is that something that you're kind of pushing into more?
Yeah. So I have, this is the thing. When my commission started taking off, I basically was like, oh, I can start making money again. This is good. I obviously need money. So I'm going to go hard for all of the commissions. And I did. I took on a ton over the last year. But now that I've hit a point where I'm booking out into 2026 and kind of a little bit beyond.
Wow.
So I've got some pretty steady work over the next year, which means that I can kind of pull back a little bit and start doing some other things that I have planned maybe in the future on YouTube. Some secrets.
Well, I love that. So, how do you feel now? We've seen your face on Instagram, and so, and this really does speak to being a female too, a woman on social media. And you go as deep as you want into this or not, but I don't feel like you do it a lot. I think you kind of more rarely show your face. I'm assuming that's on purpose. Tell me about that side of it, because you're talking about harsh comments too, and that's kind of what made me go, okay, I think she's got a plan here, how she's going about this.
Yeah. So basically the first year, first like 8 months, I'd say, I really didn't show my face on social media at all. And that was kind of intentional just because I wasn't sure that I was going to be comfortable behind a camera.
And this was back when you were mostly doing it for your friends, honestly.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I was just doing it for animation for fun. My friends knew what I looked like, so I didn't need to post my face. They already knew what I looked like.
Right. That's a good point.
So, I had these ideas for what I wanted to do, specifically with YouTube. So over the last couple of months, if you watch some of my videos, you'll start to see that I've slowly been putting myself into my videos, kind of in the background. And if you were kind of casually watching, you might not even notice that it's me all the time. But I created that little, the little avatar, the cartoon version of me to be my stand-in so that I didn't have to be on camera. However, when you do that, you obviously have to animate that character every time you want to talk about something. So I did kind of shoot myself in the foot because, if you want to make a 2-minute video of you talking about something, you got to animate the talking head.
You got to be doing some posing, right?
Extra work, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But very appealing extra work. I mean, it pays for itself. Obviously, it's more work, but people loved it, I'm sure.
They did. They thought it was really cool. And I've the secret project that I've been working on, which was kind of a project that I had been working on back when I had the 6 months in between getting laid off and when I thought I would have to go back to work, was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the show Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah, of course.
Disney Channel show.
We have all daughters. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And
they're grown. So
yes. So I was a big fan of Lizzie McGuire when I was a kid. So my original idea had been kind of to post these animations in a Lizzie McGuire-esque setting. That's why my animated character is often in real life background filmed stuff like that, a la Lizzie McGuire. So in the next couple of months, I have a plan for some things that may be coming out soon. with a little bit of a Lizzie McGuire flair.
Okay, so it'll be you
it.
in live action and maybe talking to your Lizzie McGuire other alter ego. Okay, I love that.
Great idea.
Exclusively dropped right here on the
Right.
Bancroft
Can't
Brothers.
wait.
You guys are the first ones to know about it. So
Well, and Julia, I just want to back that up with some compliments. You know, you're very magnetic. I mean, I think that you have a great personality. You're bubbly. You're excited about what you're doing. And, you know, seeing that more pure on the screen, I'm sure people will line up for it. And then just, but not getting rid of your animated version, which is smart because people love that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see big success for you in that.
Thank you.
Tom, you know what I see too? I see we need to wrap things up pretty quick here, but I also see the Bancroft Brothers Animation Podcast coming out. And I want you guys all that have listened to this podcast, go check out what she's doing. The Bookish Animator on Instagram. That's the great portal into it, but she's also on YouTube. Follow her there and subscribe. Guys, and one thing I'll say, Julia, too, we have an Animation Expo. I'm just going to put you on the spot and say we'd love to have you at our Animation Expo and have a booth. You could sell, you know, puppets of your doll character, your persona, plushie, whatever.
I never another job. Start stitching.
I was thinking of like a rigged, like, you know, like paper model puppet.
Oh,
you know,
that's so smart.
Those used to be so popular. I don't know where they went, but anyway. We would love to have you at Animation in Nashville.
Yeah, she is in Canada, so that's kind of.
I know. We'll have to talk about that. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk.
Ever been to Nashville, Julia?
I have not. I hear it's lovely.
Oh my gosh!
I live outside of it. I've never gone in. No, I can't. But we are just outside of Nashville. Yeah, you're gonna love it. I hope you can come.
I would love to.
It's been a thrill to talk to you today, Julia. Thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me. This is truly, as I said before the podcast rolled, this is very surreal for me.
Yeah, well,
that's awesome.
It's been a lot of fun for us too.
We've been following you and we're going to continue to follow you. We love what you're doing. So keep it up, Julia. And as we always say, Tom, animate from the heart.
Be sure to subscribe to the Pencil-ish Studios YouTube channel.